Starting a small business is tough. Did you know that 50% of small businesses fail within their first year, and 75% of those that make it past the first year fail within the next 5 years? How can you create a business that doesn't fail, run smoothly, and give you the time and money to enjoy life? That was the question spinning around my head, until I found an answer in Michael E. Gerber's book, The E-Myth Revisited: Why Most Small Businesses Don't Work and What to Do About It. If you're thinking about starting a business or already have one but feel overwhelmed, this is for you. I wish I had read this book before starting my business. Let's dive into it. Part 1. The Fatal Assumption. Imagine you're great at your job, one of the best. But you feel underappreciated or underpaid. One day, after a bad experience with your boss, you think, why am I working for this person? I could run this business better. You decide to start your own business. But here's the catch: you're about to go from hating your boss to becoming the boss you hate. Many people start businesses thinking that being good at the technical work means they can run a business doing that work. But that's a fatal assumption. Knowing how to do the work and knowing how to run a business are two different things. For instance, being a skilled video editor doesn't mean you know how to run a video editing business. This mistake leads to many businesses failing. The tragedy is that when the technician falls prey to this fatal assumption, the business that was supposed to free him enslaves him. He used to do one job when he was working for somebody else, but now besides that job, he has to do 10 other jobs that he has no idea how to do. One day you wake up and realize that you don't have a business. You have a job, and it is the worst kind of job. You were running away from your boss, but now your business is your boss, and it is the worst kind of boss. Soon the job you used to love becomes the job you hate. The journey that started with excitement turns into terror, exhaustion, and failure. In the next part you will understand why this happens and how to avoid it. Part 2. The Entrepreneur, Manager, and Technician. When you start a business, you're not just one person, you're 3 in 1, an entrepreneur, a manager, and a technician. This is if you've ever been on a diet. Everyone who has tried dieting knows there's a fat guy and a skinny guy. Inside them, skinny guy know what you have to do to get skinny: diet and exercise. All you have to do is chisel skinny guy out of you like a marble statue, but fat guy doesn't want to go on a run. Fat guy likes junk food. You can work out later, maybe tomorrow or never. Anyone who has ever experienced the conflict between the fat guy and the skinny guy knows what I mean. You aren't just skinny guy or fat guy, you're both. When you're skinny guy, you're always making promises for the fat guy to keep, and when you're the fat guy, you're always making promises for skinny guy to keep. If you've ever felt like fat guy and skinny guy, you know that you can't be both. Someone has to lose, and they both know it well. That's the kind of war going on inside the owner of every small business. But it's even worse, because it's a three-way battle between the entrepreneur, the manager, and the technic. Unfortunately, it's a battle no one can win. Understanding the differences between them will quickly explain why. The entrepreneur. This is the dreamer and visionary in you. The one who imagines a better life and has big ideas. The manager. This part of you keeps things organized and running smoothly. Managers love order and planning. If you have a junk drawer in your house, it might be in your kitchen, in a desk or office, but there's a drawer that's just full of random items you don't know how it got there. But one day you woke up and it was full of junk rubber bands, old mismatched keys, a broken watch, batteries that might be dead, and always some loose screws and nails waiting to poke you. When you reach inside, this is what the manager sees. When he sees an entrepreneur's business, they can't work in this mess. He sees a junk drawer that needs to be cleaned and organized. Instead of everything being shoved into a drawer or tossed into piles, a manager would go to work with a label maker. Everything has a place and everything should be put back in its place. Keys are on a key ring, screws and nails are in plastic bins. Managers treat people and tasks in a business the same way they handle junk drawers. They plan for problems to happen. Everyone has their place and their jobs to do, and they make sure it happens. The technician. This is the doer who loves getting things done. technicians focus on the work itself and live in the present. They just want to get to work. They want to know how to do it. And they want everyone to get out of their way. But everyone gets in the technician's way. The entrepreneur creates new and interesting work for the technician, but they are always interrupting or distracting. The manager is also a problem because they want to make technicians part of their system. If it were up to the technician, they would go to work every day and never worry about the future. This is the worst mentality. If a business is going to survive for many years in your life, you can probably see these three characters in action. You can see how one part of you craves a sense of order, while another part of you dreams about the future. You can see how another part of you can't stand being idle and jumps into work and feels guilty if he isn't doing something all the time. So to sum up this part, there are three people in you: the entrepreneur, the manager, and the technician. The entrepreneur dreams, the manager worries about everything, and the technician gets the job doing. Part 3. 3 phases of a business. Businesses grow through 3 stages: infancy, adolescence, and maturity. Infancy, the technician's phase. When you start, you do everything yourself. It's exciting but exhausting. You juggle many tasks, work long hours, and soon realize there's too much work for one person. Many businesses fail here when owners give up. Infancy ends when the owner realizes that the business cannot continue to run the way it has been. In order for it to survive, it will have to change. When that happens, when the reality sinks in, most business failures occur. The technician locks the door and walks away. The rest go on to adolescence. The rest go on adolescence, the manager phase. The moment when you decide to finally get help with your business is pivotal. Every business that lasts must grow into the adolescent phase. Every business owner who survives needs help. What kind of help does an overloaded technician get? Technical help, someone who can do the work that isn't getting done, which is usually the work you don't like to do. If you like sales, you bring in someone to build the product. If you like production, you bring in a salesperson. If you don't know who to bring in, it's usually an accountant, because most small business owners hate accounting. So, you hire your first employee, Harry. Harry knows accounting. He's an experienced, hard worker. Harry has been crunching numbers longer than you've been alive. He's worked in businesses just like yours all his life. And now, Harry is going to find out the deepest secret you've been hiding. He will soon discover that you don't know what you are doing. Day 1 on the job, and Harry goes to work on your books. He's looking over the mountain of spreadsheets, printouts, and paperwork you've given him. In a moment, it hits you, you don't have to do that job anymore. You can now be a manager and not just a technician. A few weeks later, you realize Harry can do more than just accounting. He can answer the phone, work with customers, tidy up the storefront. He can do a little bit of everything. Life gets easier with Harry. You start taking longer lunch breaks and relax a bit. But there's a problem. You let Harry take over tasks inside your business instead of telling Harry what to do. This is a dangerous game, because if you aren't telling Harry what to do, he does things his way. This means your business is slowly changing from the way you did things to a new and unrecognizable business. Harry needs more help, so he hires new employees. Because you are so busy working and growing the business, they answer to Harry instead of you. You keep this up because it frees you up to do what you love until problems start happening. Mistakes start piling up. Unhappy customers start complaining that things aren't the way they used to be. Deadlines get missed. This poor management begins to take its toll. You begin to realize that no one cares about your business the way you do. You begin to realize that you never should have trusted Harry. You never should have trusted anyone. You should have known better. As the balls continue to fall at an overwhelming rate, you realize no one is willing to work as hard as you work. No one has your judgment, or your ability, or your desire, or your interest. If it's going to get done right, you're the one who will have to do it. Walk into any adolescent business and you'll find a busy owner. They are trying to do everything even though they are paying workers to do it. The more the owner does, the less the workers do, because you don't know how to do it any other way. Every adolescent business reaches a point where it pushes beyond its owner's comfort zone. You lose control over your business and can't even manage your Harry. When Harry came, you just threw things at him and ran away. But Harry has needs too. He needs more direction. He needs to know why he's doing what he's doing. He needs to know where the business is going and what's the overall strategy. If you can't manage Harry, how are you going to grow? Instead of growing the business, you'll say forget this. We'll go back to the old way when it was just you and you alone. We won't worry about all these employees and expenses. So, you shrink down the business where you feel comfortable. But you don't realize that you have already been there. You have already been small, and you couldn't do it. So, you shrink down the business where you feel comfortable. Things go fine for a while, but one day you wake up and realize, I don't want to do this anymore. You're lying in bed and don't have the energy to get up. Then you turn to your partner and say, I'm not feeling well. I think I'm sick. I don't want to go to work. And your partner says the quiet truth out loud, but if you don't go and work, no one else will. Right at this moment, you realize you don't own a business, you own a job. And it's the worst job in the world, because if you take a sick day, you don't get paid. If you don't show up today, there's no one who will do the work for you, and you can't sell this business to anyone because you'd just be selling them a job you hate. When the dream is gone, the only thing left is work. You might ask, what will happen if I don't go small and keep growing? Well, you'll eventually self-destruct. Let's say against all odds you survive because you're stubborn and determined to stay in business. You do whatever it takes to keep the lights on, and you have to be working all the time. You're consumed by the business. Day after day is the same. You never change. The business doesn't fail, your body and mind do. You get sick, you get hurt, but you keep going. You're like a fan that's been left on 24 hours a day, and with one final wee, the fan blade stops spinning. This is how most small business owners feel today. But it doesn't have to be this way. There's a better solution. Up until this point, we have described the problems that cause most small businesses to fail. In the rest of the video, we'll talk about the solutions. It starts with the maturity phase. Maturity is not guaranteed. Not all businesses that go through infancy and adolescence end up at maturity. If you're lucky, you might reach this stage. But here's the key point, maturity is not the final result of the previous two phases. You can skip them. Yes, you heard it right. You can start the mature company from the day one. Famous companies such as McDonald's, Disney, IBM and Apple didn't end up as a mature company. They started as a mature company. A company can start as mature if the entrepreneur has an entrepreneurial perspective. It's about creating a business that can run without you. The goal is to build a systems-dependent business, not a people-dependent one. Building a systems-dependent business. To succeed, you need to create systems for everything. Your business should be able to operate without you. Imagine you're going to franchise your business. How would you make it so the 5,000th unit runs as smoothly as the first? You need clear, detailed instructions for every task. For example, if you open a cake shop, have detailed job descriptions and instructions for each role, from baking cakes to cleaning the shop. This ensures consistency and makes it easy for anyone to follow. Business development process. This process has 3 steps: innovation, quantification, and orchestration. 1. Innovation. Look for ways to improve how your business operates, not just your product. Small changes can make a big difference. For instance, changing how you greet customers can boost sales. 2. Quantification. Measure the effects of changes. Track data to see what works and what doesn't. This gives you concrete proof of what improves your business. 3. Orchestration. Implement successful changes as standard operations. Once you know what works, make it a regular part of your business. To summarize, many businesses fail because their owners don't understand that running a business is different from doing the technical work. You need to balance the roles of entrepreneur, manager, and technician, and create systems that allow your business to run smoothly without you. By continuously innovating, measuring, and standardizing your operations, you can build a successful and sustainable business. Thanks for watching. I hope it was a useful video.